All right. So this is how I view my guides. Like they're not God.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Agreed.
like, okay, and also guides, because they're usually like ancestors, they're not pure.
Welcome to Fame and Fortune with your host, Taylor Fortune. And
Sara Ashley, not Beth and Shay. I'm sure you can tell, or BA
BA
fame
Fame. Come on,
is BA
baby.
fame these
Yeah.
days. I know, name change. No, this is Sara Ashley. Most of you already know me, Sara Ashley Astrology. But yeah, BA is in Key West today, living it up. And I'm here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, tag teaming it here with Taylor Fortune.
Yeah, we're doing some like multiverse crossover between cosmic love and fame and fortune and who knows what other things we have in store.
There's a lot, guys. We've been working on a lot. It's all
Yeah.
very secretive, top secret. It's in the vault for now. We're ready to well, we're almost ready. There's a few things that will come out soon. I feel like strongly during Gemini Cancer season, things will start coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming. I can feel it, but we probably shouldn't talk too much about that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we'll keep all
no.
that cloak and dagger as we have been. Just teasing things out one bit at a time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. We don't want to give people too much foreshadowing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's not like I don't want to talk about it because I'm afraid it's gonna be like cursed or whatever kind of shit. Like people are like, don't say it. People will curse you. They'll send bad energy your way. It's like, no, I just don't want to talk about it yet because it's not ready to talk about.
yeah. You could probably relate to this, but I've been doing creative projects in so many different fields for probably like the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And, I was a film student at San Francisco State. I was always had a script, a project, an acting gig, something on the horizon. And the amount of things that I didn't talk about that never materialized are countless. Countless. Like, there were times, between like my family or whoever, where like, we all thought we were going to get famous and like this feature film that was going to be made and financed by LA people, or like I almost landed this modeling gig for MasterCard that was going to shoot in Hawaii. So many things. Like my agent called me back and she's like, you're on the short list, clear your schedule for next week. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then all these things I never tell anybody, because when people can get stoked for you, they truly can, but when you don't deliver, when it falls through, they're like, jackass, you never had anything anyway.
Yeah. Or they accuse you of making it up.
Right.
That's what it is. Like,
Right.
oh, this person's just full of shit.
Right.
It's like when I entered stuff into the Nickel. For those of you who don't know what the Nickel Awards are, they're screenwriting awards for people who really don't have films out yet, that are judged by the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, whatever. It's the Oscar people.
Yeah.
So when I submitted a bunch of my stuff, I was like, I submitted my stuff to the Nickel. I put it on Facebook. I was so excited. And then like everyone's like, what happened with the Nickel? I'm like, yeah, I didn't even make quarterfinalists. Like, they give you like that sad face, like, good luck to you. You're shit. It's like, and it's
Exactly.
just like, it's not positive reinforcement at all for what you're doing. So it's like now, like these kind of projects, it's like, even though like, yeah, I know they're going to happen, they're going to come to fruition, whatever, we're manifesting them. But it's like, I don't want to give them a timeline, because then people start asking about them. And then especially, since we're on social media, we have a lot of people who follow us. They're all going to want to know, and I don't want to let them down, because I don't want to give a timeline to anything we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. The Nickel Dome. Is it the Nickel or is it the Nickelodeon? I can't remember the competition. The Nickel Fellowship? It's the Nickel Fellowship, right?
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, it's the Nicholl.
That's it. It's the last name, Nickel.
Yeah. It's named after some professor from USC or UCLA.
Right. Yeah, I had a really good professor at SF State. His name was Bill Nickel, but I don't think it was him. I don't know. He was a very accredited published author, like really an acclaimed author, but I don't think he was the source of the Nickel Fellowship. But
I think so
yeah,
either. Maybe he's the brother or the cousin. You
maybe
never
you're
know.
the brother or the cousin of said Nickel.
Yeah.
All my years screenwriting, so I would always submit not the Nickel. That's a really good one. There's two big ones, and the other one is the final draft competition every year, and I submitted to that I think 12 years in a row, and then in 2015 I did make it into the quarterfinals.
Amazing.
It still went
Amazing.
nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you're like, finally I'm there. But it has to like get to the finalists. And sometimes those people don't even make it. Like
Yeah.
what I would do when I would make it like quarterfinalist or, semi or finalist in some of these contests or competitions rather, I would go look up these people's names in IMDb.
Yeah.
And I would see like what else have they done. And usually it's like nothing. So I felt like I was in the same company as I was. And like usually nothing would happen with their stuff either. Is then I would look up like the previous award winners, and even though they would have like representation, agents or whatever, like usually nothing would happen. Like they had nothing going for them,
Yeah.
in terms of their resume.
It's
So
yeah. There's a lot of that. Now, you and I have both heard some interesting things because I've heard this from a number of people. One time I got this is before I even wrote a script that was worthy of the quarterfinals. This is when I was like 27 and bullheaded, and I thought the script I wrote was the greatest script ever. And it's kind of a true romance drive knockoff, kind of high octane, lots of gunplay and sex and rock and roll and all that.
okay, so Christian Slater would have been in it like 20 years ago. I get it.
Yeah, it would have been Ryan Gosling probably like 10 years ago, Christian Slater 20, 30
Yeah.
years ago. And I got into an argument with the coverage writer, which don't get me started on coverage writers. They're for all those people that don't know, Hollywood is run by people who get paid $50 an hour. Or sorry, $50 a script
Yeah.
to read your script and to write like a 4-page analysis on it, breaking it all down and basically giving it a fucking A through F kind of a score.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy graded my script very low, and I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. Like in that Tarantino kind of way, like I know more about cinema. This script is fucking gold. And so I felt high and mighty, and like we had a phone meeting, and I was paying him for the phone meeting, so I was already upset because he scored my script low, and I'm sitting there talking to him on the phone. But I'll never forget what this guy brought up, and later a screenwriter that you and I have come to talk about kind of reinforced this. And he said, do you think I don't want to like your script?
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. It feels like that. He's like, you think I don't want to like it? He's like, you think I don't want to bring my bosses a fucking kick-ass script that's going to sell? He's like, you think I don't want to find that in Hollywood? He's like, I'm reading scripts for $50 a pop. Like, I want to be the one that finds gold. And he's like, this ain't gold, dude. He's like, I don't know what to tell you.
But in our imaginations, it is, because this is like the best thing that ever happened. It's like we need to get it down on paper. But for them, it's like that sounds so grueling, like reading 120 pages and then marking the 120 pages up and then writing a 4-page synopsis of what was wrong and what was right with this for $50 an hour. Well, $50 total, not $50 an hour.
Yes, $50 total.
It's shit. And it's like masochistic on our part too, because then we're paying to hear criticism. And like, I hate it. Like, I loved it and I hated it, depending on like what kind of feedback I got.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really weird, and I've done coverage before, and I know that people get really good at it, and that's how they can churn it out into like 3 or 4 scripts a day for $150, $200. I could not do it. I did a script. I read it in a day, which even that, I'm a very avid reader, but I don't know, just sometimes reading a whole script and then like having to write about it in the same day is just too much. Like, so I've taken 2 days before to read a script just because I want it to sink in, and I don't want to sit on the couch for a 2-hour script reading session or longer. And the coverage to write a really good 4-page synopsis of the material and kind of break it down demographically, budget, genre, all that stuff. It took me like 2 or 3 days to write it. Now, like I said, I know these guys are churning these out. They're doing, they do it for like a year, and they write like 300 of these coverage reports, so it gets easier, but it's still a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work if you want to give someone the right feedback. I feel like it's the same thing like with what we do now. Like it is actually a lot of work. People don't realize it. when we go and we sit down with someone for a reading to give them a really good, thorough reading,
Yeah.
that takes a lot of mental energy. People don't realize it. They think, oh, you just go like do a reading. Like, here you go. Like, here's your cards. This is what I feel. This is what I think. But no, like, I feel like I need at least an hour between clients. Like, what about you? What about you, Taylor? Like, do you feel like you need a little rest between clients?
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely,
no.
definitely. Actually, that's probably going to segue more into what we're going to talk about
Yeah.
today, because we're
Yeah.
talking more about spirituality today. But I feel like there's layers and a past to you and I, especially, that people who follow us or watch Cosmic Love or whatever have no idea, like where we came from. A lot of us just kind of rose from the ashes of COVID, and suddenly here we all are on social media, in this kind of spiritual network. But it didn't start there. But yeah, but back to your question. Yeah, readings. Tarot readings, astrology readings, they take a lot. They take a lot of mental energy. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of effort to intuit these things, to act as like a divine channel, to be, to do the cards and the person justice, but also try not to hurt feelings or like cross any lines, which anyone would say like, oh, who gives a fuck about their feelings? Like, you just have to be accurate. Well, that doesn't always work. Like, you have to really cater to people, because people are very sensitive, and when they're seeking when they're seeking spiritual counseling, it's because they're in a very emotionally vulnerable place.
100%. Yeah. Because most people who come to me, they're in crisis, especially
Right.
people who are like, can you fit me in today? Like, I
Right.
had a call from a lady last night, not a call, but a DM, like, can you get me in now? I know it's Easter, and it was like 9 o'clock Eastern time. And she
Right.
was actually in Eastern time. And I was like, no, like, it's 9 o'clock Eastern time, but I'll get you in tomorrow. And a lot of people that we see are in crisis. They're not just there like, hey, what's going on with my chart or whatever,
Yeah.
it's not for entertainment purposes. So we have to handle them with kid gloves, like leave them better than we found them, and give them some hope, but not false hope, because guess who they're going to come back to? You're
Yeah.
like, you told me this would turn out okay.
Right.
You told me I was going to get the girl. You told me I was going to get the guy. You told me I was going to keep my job.
You
We
told
can't.
me it was my twin flame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Told me he was my twin flame, and we would get together and get married by next month. So it's like, yeah, we have to be very careful how we phrase things for people's mental well-being and their safety.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, like, it's so easy to say things when, sorry, I have a little bit of allergies right now.
You're fine. Me too.
I'm going to leave that in the podcast, though, because it's real life. Oh my God.
This is
Actually, I'll
why
probably
I'm
cut that
drinking my
out.
dandelion tea.
I'll cut that out.
Dandelion tea. It's supposed to help with everything in your body. I saw some reel about it the other day. I'm like, so what did I do? I went on Amazon yesterday and I ordered like a dozen boxes of it. Kind of like
Nice. A
sickening.
dozen. About how many bags is that?
36 times 12. I don't know. What is that?
Oh my
400.
God, that's like 500 or something. Um, that's a lot. 540. I don't know.
Forget the
But
math.
also another thing as a reader too, it's so you have to be careful how quickly you pass judgment on a situation, because I've heard people say like, "Oh, you need to divorce him," just as a reader, and it's like, wow, you've heard their circumstances for 12 minutes, and you're telling them something that is so life altering and emotionally heavy and financially probably uh, one of the hardest things anyone can go through, and
Yeah.
you're just dishing it out like that with no empathy or real feeling for what this person's going through.
Right.
And as somebody who's been through some pretty serious things in my life, I had a very hard time when people just dismissively told me like, oh, you should just get a divorce, or like, oh, you should just quit that thing, or oh, you should just leave that place, or you should just move out of there. I'm like, it really, it makes you kind of question the where the person's at who's telling you this, and why they're telling you that, like what's going on in their life that they're like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, is it because they want to get a divorce? Is it
Yes.
they want to move? Is it because they want to quit their job? Are they projecting?
They want you to take the quick action that they know they never would be capable of doing, but somehow they're not even willing to admit that their life needs change, and they're treating you like like you're a wimp for not being able to act as quickly as they're claiming that they would, even though they never do anything to make any changes.
No, no, it sounds like Knight of Wands energy or something like
Yeah.
that, and they're like not even willing. Yeah, no, I've experienced that with some readers too, like his readers get read. Taylor, do you want to like look?
No, I'm good. I think it's going away. Yeah, I don't know what. I was working on my car outside, and I got all this like, all these fumes in me. I had it. Yeah, I was just under the fucking car, and like, there was a lot of oil and gas dripping.
You got, yeah, okay, cool. All right, just checking, doing my mom thing, like Taylor.
I know, right? I know.
My moon and Cancer thing. Okay, anyways, so yeah, I feel like I've had readings too, because like readers get read, and there are some people who are like very quick to judge the situation. And it's like, what you're telling me, like I know in my heart that's not right. Like that can't be whatsoever. And then I'll go to another reader and they're really like, no, 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 no. So it's like, what's the consensus? And also like using your own intuition, involving your own intuition in this situation. So like, I would tell anybody who's getting a reading, tarot, psychic, astrology, whatever, if it doesn't match with your own intuition, if your heart is saying like, no way, like there's no fucking way this is possible, you have to listen to that. You have to listen to your intuition first, because we all have that gift.
Yeah.
And like going to a reader is just like confirmation sometimes, like, oh, okay, they're pulling these cards, I'm getting these cards. They're saying I should get a divorce, I want to get a divorce. Like it's in sync. It's not like completely like off the reservation.
Yeah, yeah. You have to cross-reference it with a number of different sources. The number one being your own self, your own intuition.
Yeah, nobody knows you better than you.
Right.
Yeah.
And as readers, guys, I don't recommend you tell people to get a divorce or leave their job or do all that. I recommend giving recommendations, but not orders, you know? Not orders. Like, we're not in the business of telling people what to do. And if for no other reason, all fucking legal liabilities aside, but just also on your conscience. Like, what if you're not completely right? And it's like, well, should you be a reader? You better have doubt. That's part of the job too. Like, we're all human as well. You know, we're not fucking gods here just fixing everybody's problem with a wave of a wand. Like, we have to really take into account all kinds of factors when we're ordering people to make life-changing transformations.
Right, because we're all humans, even though we have psychic abilities. So sometimes they can be clouded with their own judgments, even though I know like Taylor, you're like this too. Like we try to be as unbiased and neutral as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a really bizarre experience with a psychic reader? Like that was just like completely out of left field. Like you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like you thought they were being unethical. Like, tell me about it. I'm curious.
Oh, I don't know about unethical. Well, okay. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Someone I was asking about, they said they sensed a lot of dark energy around her. Like, you know, they said what she is called is dark matter. You know, not even like in the quantum physics kind of, you know, 0-point field energy, but like that. Her entire essence is composed of like trauma that has not been resolved, unresolved trauma, okay, and that she's been put into this world to hurt other people is like her sole reason for existence. Yeah,
this is like, that's ugly.
It was very ugly. It's very like entity-esque, very demonic vibration, but which is hey, cool, more power to that. But the problem is there was no room or recognition of redemption in there at all. It was kind of like this fixed circumstance, like this person is just among the dark demonic matter and they have no free will or agency to fix that. And so I was like, you know what, fuck that. Like, as long as somebody's alive, there's always a chance for redemption. I don't care if you're on fucking death row or like out in the streets homeless. There's always a chance, you know, like, yeah, you can pass and then fucking the gods of the afterlife can decide, but you can do your best on the material plane to right all the wrongs you made or whatever, as long as you're alive. But I mean, what do you think about that?
That's quite a judgment.
It is. It's exactly what it was, judgment.
it doesn't sit well with me to say that someone's like beyond redemption, unless we're talking about someone who's like a molester or a serial killer or something of that nature. Then I mean, it's just like, no, this is just like an everyday person who might be a jerk sometimes. Then okay, but
Yeah.
like we can't say that kind of stuff. We can't say that
No, no.
at all,
Not somebody who's
especially.
just like living their life and has been through ups and downs, and somebody who's never consciously hurt anyone. Just somebody, their judgment maybe not the best, but we're not talking about pedophiles and serial killers here. We're just talking about someone just believing that they're doing the best they can.
Yeah, that's too much. It feels like there's some anger and hostility. Like this is what I'm picking up intuitively, that reader had some anger and hostility towards possibly that person, if they knew that person or knew of that person, or they just had anger and hostility towards that type of person.
It was
And they were
that type of
projecting.
person, exactly. Now that's what I saw too, mixed with the fact that I think this psychic may have had a certain vibe toward me and did not appreciate me asking about said person and wanted to dish out the harshest of judgments in order to dissuade me from my interest.
Ooh,
Pretty
interesting.
fucked up. These are fucking,
It is.
yeah.
So that's like using your gift for dark purposes,
Right?
which I feel like the divine, the universe, God's worst creator, whatever you want to call him, her, their, she, whatever, pronoun you want to put on it. Like, I feel like it's like, that too much is given, too much is asked for, whatever that parable is in, like, I don't know, the Bible. I don't know what part of the Bible it's in. You guys know, like, see, whatever. Anyways, you're like, that girl listening.
Add in the comments below.
I know, right? Help me out here, guys.
Yeah.
I was raised Jewish.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, but I think Jesus said it. But like, it's really true. Like, if you are, too much is given, too much is required. That's what it is. Like, if you are, a psychic medium, like, you better use that gift for good, or else, like, they can take it away. Like, you want to work for the dark side, it might be taken away from you, and then, like, there it goes. So
I think it
won't
is
blame
taken away from a lot of people. I think they're just running on fumes, and like, I think a lot of people, a lot of older psychics really just get comfortable saying whatever comes to their mind and believing that that's some like divine channeling they're doing. But I think they're full of shit. Honestly, like, I really do. I think there's a lot of psychics that are just completely full of shit and have no idea what they're talking about. They just are, because they have created the environment, like their living room or some storefront that's, surrounded in crystals and all that, and they've been doing it for so long. They don't think, it's like people walk in, they're already marveled and they're already like wanting to have a transformative experience. They're giving a lot of breathing room for this person to say whatever they're going to say.
Right.
But a lot of them speak in such generalities that anybody's just gonna walk out of there like, oh my god, and they're experts at feeling out what it is you want to hear, and either leaning into it to appease you or pulling away from it to kind of tease you, or like to provoke you a little bit, but only like for just so you become emotionally dependent on the whole scenario and you keep firing away with questions.
Or you keep coming back for
Or you
more.
keep coming back.
Yeah. That was my first situation that was really bad with the psychic. And like, I didn't go back for like 10 years. It kind of like, I don't think I've talked about this publicly. I've talked about it with some clients before, because there were a few clients who are like, I haven't done this before, or I did this once, it was really bad. I'm like, okay, let me tell you, I had a really bad experience too. So I was in my early 20s. I was going through a really rough time, and I was still into spirituality at that point. But like, this woman, like, she read me like a book, like the stuff that she said, like, first of all, she looked like Beetlejuice. Like, it was kind of scary. And she was wearing like a muumuu, like she's like the stereotypical like psychic in the house. But she knew everything that was going on. And there was other stuff that like I knew intuitively that she said that wasn't revealed until like a few years later, that I was trying to tell my husband, and he's like, no, that can't be about this person. I was like, yeah, like, trust me, like, they're doing some weird ass stuff. And so anyways, I digress. So at the end, she's like, okay, you're going to pay me now? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you have like one of those like square machine things? She said, no. And so she's like, well, there's an ATM up the street. I said, okay, well, I'll come back with your money. And she said, well, now you need to buy some crystals. I was like, okay. And like, it wasn't like $30 crystals, Taylor. It was like $160, $260 crystals. I'm like, dude, I don't have money for this. And she's like, well, if you don't have money for this, your problem's never going to be resolved. She's like, and I need you to come back next week. I need to break this curse, blah, 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 blah. I was like, no, oh, no, 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 no. I was like, you're full of shit. So even though she knew her stuff, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I took like 10, 11 years off of this stuff because I was like terrified. I was like, maybe this is just like all like witchcraft. Like I doubted it because I could tell like she was dark. She had some
Yeah.
dark stuff going on. Like, I know.
No, just the layers of fucking
Yeah.
deception there is like, it's unreal. Like, you need to
Yeah.
buy these crystals, and like you need to come back. And also, we've talked about this with entities too, like how like all these entity removers, like everybody has entities for all these people that remove entities, and like you just happen to have an amount that becomes so overwhelming, like, oh, you have 163, it's going to be a lot of work. It's like, is
Yeah.
it? How much do you charge for that? And then there's the rub, there you find out how much they fucking charge per entity. And you happen to have, and you and I have heard numbers in the thousands that people have had. I've heard that someone had 4,600 whatever entities.
How can you prove that? This thing you can't prove it. And if you're scared shitless, like this person's gonna make it worse for me. If
Right,
bad things are gonna happen to me. So I feel like people who are like super impressionable might believe this stuff, especially if like they're in a really vulnerable place. Like let's say they just lost their job or they're going
right,
through a divorce or whatever, like they'll do whatever it takes to get things back. But it's like it's all the inner work. Like we can't do it for you guys. Like we're like the assistants, we're like the coaches, like Taylor's a life coach. Like we're cheering you on. We're your cheerleaders. We're here to support your journey. But
yeah,
like, like I go to Jen a lot. Her and I do exchanges, awakening with Jen. She's amazing. Like she helps me like clear my energy. But the thing is, like, I have to do the work too.
yeah,
It's not a one-way street. Like no one person could do it for you. It's like the lifestyle that you lead, it's the choices that you make, it's what
right.
you eat, the thoughts in your head, all of it. It's personal responsibility.
What that bears repeating. It is the lifestyle that you lead. Spirituality is intertwined with your daily lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not. It's not some, otherworldly. It's partly otherworldly and partly mystical, but it is also integral to day-to-day choices. What time you wake up in the morning, what kind of food you put in your body, how much exercise you get, how happy are you, how much do you like smell the fucking fresh air, roses, or whatever the analogy is, and whatever it is, it's like that is spirituality. That is spirituality. It's not just about astral projection into some higher dimension. It's about what you do on a day-to-day basis, how you treat the people you're around. Do you show up for a podcast? You know what I mean? Or do you flake on everything that you book in your life? It's just all those kind of things. Like, yeah, I mean, you continue, Sarah. I know you can continue this rant. Like,
No, it's like it's a free flowing rant, like between both of us, because like we've seen it. It's like you cannot be in a good space in your life if you're continually making choices that create problems for other people.
right.
Those problems, it's like the boomerang effect. That's karma and action. It creates bad karma, bad effects for you. It's negative. It's a negative mindset. It's a negative feeling. It's just like it's continual shit. It's like you create shit, the shit comes back to you. It's continual boomerang effect. And I've seen it with people over and over again in my personal life or just like online or whatever, like people who make good choices. And I'm not talking about like being a saint because I'm not for that at
No.
all.
Hell no,
No,
look at us.
no, yeah.
I got a serpent tattooed on my forearm. No fucking saint, guys. I've done enough drugs to fucking kill an army.
We have lived and we continue to live.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's like, are you making yourself and other people happy? Like, what's your intention? Is the intention behind it all self-serving, or is it to help other people too, to lift up the vibe of the collective, which you were texting me about today?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about, is lifting the vibe. Like, okay, spirituality broken down in the most simple fucking equation. Did you, as you're going to bed at night, did you have a more positive impact on the day that you just lived not your fucking childhood, not the things you can't change, not the past, whatever. Today, even if you have a shit childhood and everything from your past, even if you've done horrible things, okay, today, fucking Monday, fucking Friday, did you go to bed making the world a tiny bit better of a place, neutral, or a worse place? Like, were you kind to the clerk at the store? Were you like, did you give the homeless guy a dollar, even if it's not even like, you know, just humanitarian thing? Like, were you just nice? Like, did you return the phone call from the person who's been trying to get in touch with you? Were you generous, whatever it is? Or were you like, did you burn someone today? Did you like hurt someone today? Did you like not stick to your own diet today? Did you hurt yourself today? Did you not work out today and have some, did you take a nap instead of, you know, doing something that you were supposed to do? Like, whatever it is. And
did you inconvenience somebody because you didn't care?
Right. Or yourself, because that matters too. It's not only just about your effect on the world, it's about your effect on yourself. And it's like, spirituality is the summation of all those choices. Yeah. Hour after hour, day after day, and then ultimately year after year. And it doesn't go on some, you know, divine scoreboard where the gods are like, okay, you get a B-, so you're going to fucking B- land. It's about, you know, it's about how you feel. That is it. The scoreboard is the vibration it creates inside of yourself. And happy people, or people who do what they feel like is good things, you know, you can do bad, you can do drugs and have sex and still not be hurting anybody. You know what I mean? Like that, find people who enjoy doing that and go knock yourself out. Yeah. But if you're doing that with people that you're hurting, you know, then you're fucking yourself. But
right. Under false premise, like, hey, I'm gonna, like, this girl really loves me and I don't love her, and I'm saying, yeah, I love you. You know,
right.
Like
Exactly.
That's bad. That's bad. Like, both on the same page, fine. It's fine. Whatever.
And this is where morality gets blurred, because you and your girl, or you and your significant other, you may both work 9-to-5 jobs, and on the weekends you like to fucking let her rip. You like to do blow together, you like to drink together, you like to party, and then Monday comes around and you start the 9-to-5 again. God bless you. Like, just do it. You know, if you two are in it together and you have a group of friends that are all the same, and you just want to get fucking blasted on the weekends, but like, you can still function and do your job, and, you know, people don't even realize you're that hungover on Monday. Great. Like, that's why I don't give a shit about morality, because I like, if that's what makes you happy, your circle of friends happy, and as long as you're not coming to work on Monday being a fucking prick to everybody in the office, that's amazing. Then you're living in your truth. But these choices you make for your own, they're things that you want to do for yourself, you know. If you don't want to go on a diet, don't go on a diet. But if you want to change yourself, you want to work out, you want to eat better, and you want to be kinder to people, and each day you still cannot get yourself to eat better, to work out, and you can't get yourself to be nice to whoever, like the people at work or your family, then your vibration is being lowered. You're failing yourself. You're failing the things that you committed to on your own, like between you and the divine. And that's where, like, that negative energy comes from.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. And it's like that whole, like, are you being authentic to yourself too? Because the example that you gave about, like, you know, people partying up on the weekends, like, what if someone doesn't like that lifestyle? Like, that means that they're not living in their highest vibration. Right. It's like, maybe some people just rather, like, be sitting around reading a book on the weekend, which is, like, totally fine. Like, that's them. Like, so when people are not living in their authentic vibration, that also lowers the collective vibration too, because you're just making other people more miserable around you when you're not happy.
Yeah. Exactly. Just live in your truth, live in your power. Like, and another thing, Sarah, holy fuck, I have to address this. Do not exploit spirituality for your own personal gain or for your own personal justification. Do not commit to something and then say, my guides told me not to do it. Your guides didn't fucking tell you to drop a commitment. That's you not wanting to do it and then claiming that some divine intervention is what is keeping you from doing it. Bullshit. Yeah. Okay, there is intuition, of course, like, hey, I was gonna go meet my friend in this part of the city, and I just got this vibe that I shouldn't go to that part of the city tonight. understood,
Yeah.
understood. But there's other things where people say my guides were telling me, not to show up for something that damn well could have changed your life if you showed up for, and don't blame it on it. Don't let your guides take the hit for that. You decided to do that on your own. You go ahead.
Let's talk about the guide thing for a minute.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I think it bears a lot of emphasis.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is how I view my guides. Like, they're not God. Okay. So
Agreed.
like, okay. And also guides, because they're usually like ancestors, they're not pure souls either. I don't know if you agree with me on this. This is just my like take on it. So like,
I hadn't thought of it. So enlighten me what it is for you, because I think it's interesting.
Okay. So like I have like, I think I have like 4 guides. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that they're all like dead ancestors. Okay.
Okay.
Like, okay. I know 3 of these people in my life.
Yep.
They're nice people, but they're also people. So like, I feel like when we go off into that afterlife, when we like, I feel like part of our soul reincarnates here on earth in the physical, and then it splinters off there in the 5D world, and it could become a guide for somebody like you, me, whomever.
Yeah.
They're not the end all be all. They're like an assistant, because if you think about like angels, right? Like they can also be dark too. So you have to discern what your guides are saying. Like Lucifer, right, is also an angel.
Right.
So you have to be discerning. So like if your guide tells you something, where do you think it's coming from? Like you have to discern it. So like, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't just say, okay, my guides told me, like, that's it. Like there's only a few times I've completely been like, yes or no, like hard no, because of something that my guides have told me. But other than that, it's like literally like a guide. It's an assistant. It's not the end all be all. It's not my consciousness. It's not my intuition. It's not God. I don't know. What do you think?
That's
curious.
interesting. We agree in some place, and we have. I just hadn't thought about it that way. I never worry about like deception from my guides. I think I wasn't raised religious, so I never worry if it's like, is it an angel? Is it a fucking seraphim? Is it some type of Luciferian, demonic entity?
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't worry about demonic energy really. I'm probably pretty careless with that, but I just always kind of have this like vibe that I'll just fucking roundhouse kick anything that fucks with me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If it's a fucking entity comes to my room, I'll just fucking roundhouse kick it. There you go. End of story.
That's the best energy of any place I've ever been to. So
my place.
I think they're afraid of you. They're afraid of you.
I mean, I live in a dojo. You know what I mean? I fucking live in a kickboxing dojo. Like, I put all my energy into like ritual magic, meditation, and fucking weightlifting and fighting. And I'm not even like the toughest guy in the world. It's not even what I'm saying, but just the masculine push energy that I put into my place, I think becomes very, it's like an atmosphere or something, you know?
It is. It is.
Yeah. I think most people, when they walk into my place, are like, it's like a really like powerful, like dude vibe here. And like, but a spiritual vibe too. I got like multiple altars and things like that, but I think what they see is like,
it doesn't smell like BO.
No, it doesn't smell like BO. Well, it's because of loft, high ceilings, and, I keep it clean. But there's also, like, fucking punching bags and, like, weights and stuff like that. But guides, I have 2 guides. One, and they're divine masculine, divine feminine. And they're very much, like, kind of archetypally broken up that way as per, like, Kabbalah. We have a Hokmah and Binah as the 2 spheres. Right. And the divine masculine is all fucking fire. It's all fiery energy. Very lion-esque, very like beastly, and the water, the divine feminine energy is very watery, very fairy-like, very ethereal, lots of deep blues and purples and pink like energy.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, well, and very Nordic looking. So those are my 2 guides, and like they're not. They have no religious denomination. It's got nothing to do with Gabriel or Michael or anything like that, nor does it have anything to do with, any kind of Greek, Norse, Celtic pantheon or fucking Egyptian pantheon. They're just my own, that's their divinity as I interpret it. But, and I try to talk to them every morning at 8:30. I do a 5-minute meditation. I really get into it. And more later in the day, but that's like when I'm like, I call them by their name and like really see what it is it's mental inventory. It's mental inventory. Where is my head at today?
Got
And
it.
yeah. And spoiler alert, usually my head is in a pretty kind of disoriented, maybe even fucked up place.
Yeah. 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, 8:30 in the morning, just like after breakfast, after stretching and all this stuff, and just trying to like get my day started. I always start everything work related at 9 o'clock. I read every morning before that, but then at 9 o'clock I begin like, website stuff, fucking all the legalese bullshit we have to
Paperwork.
do,
Yeah.
paperwork, clients, all of it starts at 9. I don't do any like internet related research before 9 o'clock.
Good idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So where am I at with this? So my guides feel like they're very accurate. They feel like they're very accurate. I trust them a lot, but here's the thing is like everything I commit to, I do. And you know that about me. Maybe it's
Yeah.
almost, I do it maybe too much. I just can't live with myself, not doing the things I'm saying I'm going to do. That's my own vibration. It causes like a rift inside of me,
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm the same way. Like I have to follow through, but when I think what we're talking about is like when the guides say like, no, I think this is not about like canceling plans.
Right.
Like for a podcast or I don't know, going somewhere. This is like more like don't get married to that person or don't go on that trip or like things like that, like big things.
Right.
Big things.
Where it really comes in, okay, one, yes, relationships. I never fucking listen, but they always, I know what's right for me and what isn't, and I haven't found what's right for me yet. So therefore, like, hey, if I want to have any experience in life, I have to do what's wrong, I guess.
Right.
That sucks. My guides seem to be, I think they sit that one out a lot, but I just don't listen to them. Where I do listen strongly is when it comes to anything time related that involves other people, because as they say, time is one of the only non-renewable resources we have in this life.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So one thing my guides, like one of their criteria is being aware of vampirical energy, people that are trying to drain your energy. For example, people who come to you and say, hey, I really want to start collaborating with you. Yeah, for whatever it is, maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's starting something more fun, but like a podcast or whatever. But as you and I both know, all of that shit takes work. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort.
Yeah.
And I always know immediately, I'm like, ooh, no, that's not somebody I want to get involved with on that level because it's not even anything against the person. You know what it usually is? It's me knowing that person doesn't understand the amount of energy that goes into making that thing successful. They see like you and I have an astrology show and like, oh, do you want to do one with me? I'm like, Sarah and I spend a lot of time figuring out how to put that together. And like, it's not always soaring every time either. Like every week it takes effort to make that work.
Yes. It's the magic is the work that we put into it. That's what it is. It just doesn't happen. Not anything you see on TV or on a screen. It just doesn't happen. Just doesn't appear. It takes on both people's behalf, like everyone who's involved in it. But like, I think that's why I knew you were gonna like follow through. That's why I asked you in the first place. I could sense it. There's some people like this person. It's not even like sometimes it's not even personal. Just like, this is just not, I don't feel it. And that's just like an intuitive thing. I can't even quantify that. Maybe just astrologically, perhaps I can like put it in a chart, but I don't even have their information yet. So it's just like intuitively, I'm like, no, it's not because I don't even like them as a friend. I can't do this.
No, they don't even know. That's the thing. Like, they don't even know.
No.
Like you're intuiting that they may not have the follow through, but they don't even know they don't have the follow through because at this point what it takes to launch things. And like, I just went through this with our friend. I don't think she even cared. Bianca, we like did a lot of work to launch her stuff. And like, just being by her side, helping her with all the paperwork. I've launched a few different companies now, but I'm always surprised by how much it takes. Like how much research and all that. And it's like, it is overwhelming. And like, and she's such a beast. Like, she's so like
Amazing.
committed and into it, and like, you know, gets all Aquarian and enjoys the process of it. And like, I mean, it's not fun, guys. It's not fun, but you have to shift your mind to be like, it is what it is. Like, if I want to do that, I have to read this 15-page legalese document. Like, I have to know what I'm doing. I need to go to the bank and do this. I need to call the fucking state. I need to call the county clerk to file this. Like, oh my God.
But
it's so
you have
crazy.
to view it. I view it like it's like a roadmap. Like, here I am, like I'm checking off all the stops till I get to the destination. Like,
yeah,
I'm here. So
Yeah.
Capricorn, I made it. Like, it's like a board game. Like, ding, 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 I'm moving up, and then like sometimes
Right.
you get 2 steps back. Like, I don't know, like the county clerk calling, you didn't file the paperwork correctly. Take 2 steps back.
I just had that. I had the LegalZoom call, and they said my name cannot be registered with the county of LA as it is now. So I had to alter it because I was just gonna. It doesn't matter. It's too boring. Who cares? I had to add some things to it.
Nobody
What's
wants
that?
Nobody wants to hear.
No, I could tell you, but I'd have to bore you. But here's the thing, guys. So here, another fucking spoiler alert, because we know all these people in the spiritual industry that would never make it past the first steps of actually starting a legitimate sole proprietorship, general partnership, LLC, S corp, all that kind of stuff that you have to start. And they think somehow, oh, you know, they don't need to or whatever because they don't know how. But the thing is, to be in a real business, there's going to be some type of paperwork from now until the end of time. You know, there has to be, you have to be able to accept credit cards, accept Venmo. Like, this shit doesn't go away, you know? There's always something.
There's always something, and you have to be willing to innovate too.
Right.
Yeah, that actually brings me, I'm gonna shamelessly promote myself.
Yeah, shamelessly promote.
I haven't put it up on my website yet, but on the new moon, right before the new moon, solar eclipse in Taurus, I'm actually going to teach a business workshop, a spiritual business workshop. Yeah, about like, you know, how to actually get your spiritual business started and what it actually takes, because there's a lot of people who want to know how, you know, like how am I successful? How do I have an income based off of this? No, I'm not rich yet, guys, but I will be soon.
Yeah.
But like, how did I monetize myself? So I will be teaching that soon. So if anybody wants to DM me and talk about that, like, I will put that on my website. I put it on the 22nd. So I don't like to advertise more than a week ahead of time. But
well, remember, we don't release the podcast on the day that it'll be released on Sunday.
That's right. Yeah. So yes, it's on my website, sarahashley.astrology.as.me. And that's
what's the date of it?
Today is
No, what's the date? Not today. What's the date of your class?
Oh, the date of my class is April 29th. It's a Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh yeah, well yeah. You'll make it in time for the podcast. So once again, pitch where to find it, like in an unbroken way, because I think I interrupted you.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so if you would like to book this class, it's going to start on, well, just be a one-time class. It'll be a 1-hour class, Friday, April 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And I'm not going to do all the Mountain and Central and all that stuff. You guys can calculate that. And my website is sarahashley.astrology.as.me. It's under astrology classes.
Yeah.
And it will be a spiritual business workshop. And the fee will be $44. So it's worth it. I think it's worth it for people to know what it takes, because there's a lot of people who want to know how to monetize, monetize their gifts, monetize their tarot readings, or monetize their oracle, or whatever it is that they do. And I'm going to walk you through the realistic steps and tell you all the nitty gritty stuff.
I think I'm going to take it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't need it, but I'm going to take it. Why not? I love it. This is the thing, guys. Back to basics. Always back to basics. Like, you think you're a badass tarot reader? Go back to an intro to tarot class, or read an intro to tarot book, and tell me you don't learn one valuable thing. You see one card, the Seven of Earth, something just in a new way. Like, even somebody posted there, they're writing about the Ten of Swords, which always is like, Ten of Wind, depending on the deck, Ten of Air.
Yeah.
Always, fuck, every card. They're so abstract and always open for interpretation. There's no one definitive text on what exactly that card means. And it was one of my friends on IG, and he worded it in a way where I'm like, fuck, I like the way he worded that. Like, he was like 3 sentences, and there was one bullet point sentence that just stuck out with me. I'm like, yeah, that's my meaning of it. And I don't think I ever like put it that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like when someone just articulates something that you've been feeling, but for some reason you couldn't put the words to it, or they just give you a new perspective, you're like, wow, I learned something.
Right.
And it's amazing. Like I'm constantly learning every day. And I encourage people to do that. Like, don't close your mind off to new information. Keep your mind open. That's part of spirituality too. Being lifelong.
Part of what reality?
Spirituality.
Oh, spiritual. I thought you said virtual reality. I'm like, what a fucking pull. But
no, I know why you're thinking that, Taylor.
I know. We saw the email.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another breakthrough I had. Like Ace of Swords, want to win. Like, you know, been dealing with this card my whole life, and you know, oh, new ideas are coming, like new energy. But one time I just saw it. It was even in like one of the more intro books, not even an advanced book, and it just said a mental breakthrough. I'm like, a mental breakthrough. But where's that been my whole life? 3 fucking words, you know, for like the best.
Oh, perfect.
Right. You know, we're fucking, here we are like grappling with ideas. We draw, you know, that card. We're like, we're on the verge of a mental breakthrough. We're about to have a mental breakthrough. Yeah. So
mental breakdown.
I know that's more apropos.
Us spiritual people, we're always going through some dark night of the soul. And it's like, then it's the comeback.
Yeah.
It's like we're also being tested. It's so we can like be there for the collective and be there for everybody else. It's like, why do I have to go through this again? Oh my God. Like, why? No.
Exactly.
So shitty, but at least we have friends. So
I know, right?
At least we have each other.
So we'll bring this full circle because I think this may bear repeating one last time. So spirituality, it's not meditating in a cave for 9 years, like fucking Bodhidharma, and like trying to find enlightenment through, you know, inner tranquility. Spirituality is the summation of all the choices that you make on a day-to-day basis, whether it's adding to, you know, the positive vibration of yourself and the collective, or whether it's taking away or adding a negative vibration to that, a lower vibration. That's it. It's a simple fucking equation. You don't have to be on a mountain. You know, you don't have to be on the beaches of Bali. You can be in the shithole of downtown LA, you know, among the strife, the crackheads, the homelessness, the poverty, and be totally spiritually tranquil as long as you're living by that mantra. Like each day, I'm trying to raise the vibration. I'm trying to elevate people. I'm trying to compliment people. I'm trying to help people. Not I'm trying to, you know, just be self-absorbed and do things my own way, and I don't give a fuck about anyone.
Ego-based. That's
Ego-based.
what it is. Ego-based. Get out of the ego.
Yeah.
But the ego can't die. See, that's the thing. That's one thing. Here, I'll end it on this too.
Yeah.
You need your ego to live. You need your ego to live. It's not a complete ego death. It just, the unhealthy parts of your ego, that's what needs to go. Yeah. Cool.
I agree. Sarah, thank you for filling in for the wonderful BA fame as she fames it up in fucking Key West, like posting pics of martinis and margaritas and shit.
Yeah, I love Key West. It's amazing. I don't know if you've ever been there, Taylor, but it's like you just walk around with a mojito, and it's just very casual there and relaxed and warm and Latin. It's like being in like South America or Central America without having to bring your passport.
Right. Yeah. I love it.
All right. So yeah, I will see you guys on Instagram and our show, Cosmic Love.
Yeah, which is already passed. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, you can watch Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Thursdays.
Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Taylor's channel.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.